For those just starting out, to those who built their reputation. In the detail industry, navigating the course is a daily grind. This is Play-by-Play, with industry professionals tackling topics and offering tips to help improve your game plan. Now, here's your Play-by-Play.
All right, what's up, my boy?
What's up, man?
We are back with another episode of Play-by-Play, and today we got a good one on deck.
That's right,
We
sir.
got Alex Russell with the Detail Solutions podcast joining in, and many people, I've heard this a bunch, think that putting a podcast together is pretty easy. Basically, set a table up, throw a mic on it, and just start talking. And I think he would agree that if there's a little bit more to it. So we're going to dig deep into that subject and just kind of go over some of the complexities and some of the what makes it hard to do this.
Oh, absolutely. And you guys know our struggle. I mean, you've seen it. So
Yeah.
We're going to actually take a little trip down memory lane and here in just a little bit. And we're going to talk about the busy week we've been having.
Yeah. So we last weekend we were at, you guys probably saw the podcast Friday at Mr. Jimmy Harrell's shop.
That's right. Jimmy G's Toy Box out in
our buddy
Orange Beach.
Tony runs his detail shop out of there. And that's absolutely amazing shop, man. We had a great time with our boys.
The Angel Wax folks, man. I'm telling you, dude, those guys don't get any cooler.
You fit in awful well with them. What are y'all doing out back?
Those are my people, man. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, I'm just curious. Shop talk, man. Safety meetings, doing, just keeping everything,
What is it when you said you're carrying on the conversation, carries on a good conversation? You had a word for it, like someone that can hold. You don't know. You told me one time. Hold court.
Oh yeah, holding. Yeah.
Is that what it's
court.
Called?
Yeah,
holding court. Anyways, yeah. So were you holding court there?
Well, I tend to hold court wherever I'm at. I could be the center of attention if I need to be.
Yeah, I've seen you do that. Yeah, sometimes it's unwanted center of attention.
Yeah, what are you gonna do though? You don't.
But no, these trainings were good. I mean, these guys were laying out. They had some beautiful cars there. Mr. Jimmy's got a beautiful car collection.
2023 Corvette 70th edition is what they were laying.
That's incredible,
that
man.
ceramic on.
And it's cool. It's cool to see the different vibe. Like you go to some trainings and it's just the one car. It's probably a rental or something that they brought in or a friend's car. That makes sense, right?
Yep.
But you're in a classic car collection that's just over the top, very expensive vehicles, and working on in and around that is just a whole new element. And those guys did it first class, of course.
You got something coming up this week. This weekend too. I'm sorry.
Yes. No. Yeah, I was done. I'll just shut up and let you talk.
No, I want to hear about what you got going on this weekend. We had a blast last.
I'm headed to Lexington, Kentucky. My home away from home. At the IGL training facility for an aegis training. And actually, this would be one of the first trainings that I've done up there specifically to learn the product as well. Of course, I know all about IGL products, and this is a new one. This is their industrial coating. So I'm going to go up there and learn about it. Of course, I'll be repping Detail Bookie.
Sure.
My boy Billy Smith will be there. Excited to see him. We get to spend a little time together. Joel's going to be there. Mike Carlin, Marcus, the crew. And so I'm flying up this afternoon and I'm going to chill with the guys. And I'm looking forward to it, man. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, that's going to be a good time, dude. That's definitely your people. And
it is.
And learning such a valuable skill with the aegis. I mean, this is something that can totally supplement, work whenever it's slower. You're opening it up to a whole new kind of industry.
You do. We talk about this all the
machinery.
time, and we're going into our slow season. How does that come into play? Where can we plug that in and open that up for another revenue stream to help supplement that slow time and flatten the curve?
That's right, flatten that curve,
as we all say.
Dr. Fauci says, not me. I don't say that.
Flatten the curve.
Well, guys, so back to today's show. Of course, we're going to be bringing you today's hacker hack. And so, as the saying goes, Dustin, a picture is worth 1,000 words.
Oh, okay.
Well, today's hack, a picture can save you $1,000.
Oh, wow. I like it.
That's
Show
right.
me where those pictures.
Stick around and you'll see it. It's going to be at the end.
Looking forward to it. So we figured since we had a fellow podcaster joining the show, we would talk a little bit about where our podcast has come from.
Yeah.
And this is fun for me because, a lot of you guys don't know. And Ryan, I don't know if you know how hard I pushed in the beginning to have a podcast.
I do.
You do? Okay,
I remember you in
Paris.
Y'all had the ideas to come,
Yes.
It just never really could bring it to fruition.
We didn't. It never got worked on like I wanted it to.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, SEMA had canceled. And they offered up the SEMA 360.
Yep.
And so that was like the beginning of our podcast. And we started literally in the corner of my office, on a table. But, once we got through SEMA 360, we said, okay, we can do this thing. We were no good at it, but we still thought we could do it.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And so we came up with play-by-play.
Yep.
And it started out as lunch break play-by-play, and we thought it would be great to bring in food from local restaurants,
right,
while we're doing our podcast.
We never even thought about the one part that didn't make sense was that you don't really eat anything but chicken tenders and fries. You know,
and it's not chicken tenders. You had this joke. Yeah, but I mean, yes, meat, like very plain eater. It's, you know, so and then we were bringing in like sushi and chicken salad and things that are just a little bit off of my palate. You know,
I think Ethan has a little video of it if it does not. Let's see.
So just eat
That's
the whole
really
thing.
good with
Let it rip.
avocado.
Let it rip. Just go.
That one's got some fried on it too. It's got raw on top, and then it's got a piece of shrimp tempura that's actually fried inside of it too.
Wow. Okay.
What you think? I know you're not a big raw fan, so this is real deal.
I don't hate it. It's actually really good. Surprisingly, there's not. I was thinking like fishy taste or something.
Well, you guys know me and ODB, we love it raw. So
what? No, it's really good. No, so look, now that is awesome.
Oh, baby, I like it raw.
You could just see it on my face as she was describing that. That was Lexi. She used to work with us.
Yeah.
As she's describing the rawness, and they had turned the tray.
Yeah,
I
didn't get it. I turned it where the raw was right in front of you, so that's what you're gonna.
I was supposed to have the cooked version, and it was like raw eel or something. I don't know. It was terrible, but you know, we did that for a while, and we were dead smack in the middle of our shop right there, right?
Yeah, right.
And some complexities there was that it's hot as hell down there.
It was hot, and I imagine when it gets cold, it was going to be cold, but we didn't even make it.
In the middle of the shop, like, you know, the guys were waiting to work. Like, we literally put a table in the middle of the shop, said, all right, guys, y'all go to lunch. We'll be here for an hour.
They hated that too, because we didn't ever end at exactly an hour. So.
And, you know, and it's not like we had this wonderful setup. We were dragging tables in and out and chairs. I mean, like, we roughly ran a cord, like an internet cord all the way from the laptop over. But then we got to move, and we built this, you know, we actually had this room upstairs up above the shop. We are actually above the shop right now. And we created this room up here, and where we got the nice insulation on. It's really cool.
Oh yeah, and you probably don't even know that, like, you know.
No, I don't think we should tell that right now.
That's right. Okay. Well, we got another video that he was going to be showing about the technical. I'm sorry about the shop.
What you got over there?
New studio video over there, Ethan. Oh, that was when we were doing it in the office.
Yep.
That right there. Yeah. Oh, look at that desk right there. Are we muted now? No, we're not muted. This is when we're not.
Got it. Yeah, this is our like.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, now that's the shop. That's in the shop.
I mean, we were right dead smack in the middle of the shop. You can tell if there's a vehicle that we were detailing. Look how much different the shop looks, by the way.
Oh, I know. Dude.
It's crazy how far we've come out there.
Yep. That's pretty cool, man. So, and then in addition to all of our different changes that we had going on with the look of it, we've also ran into some technical difficulties every once in a while.
Yes.
Not too long ago, we had
we've changed platforms, right? We had some change, and then we hired Ethan here, and he wanted to jump in here and take a piece of this thing. And I think Jessica willingly was like, yeah, you run it for a while. She still writes the script. She's still heavily involved in it. But, you know, gave Ethan opportunity to let us down, and he did. And
do we have video of Ethan letting us down?
Yeah.
I want to say we did.
If not, we should. And we'll show you guys Ethan, and y'all can shame him for his mishaps. But anyways, no, so it's been great. But there's technical difficulties that we've dealt with along the way. Yeah. Just like anything else, though, man, it's not always perfect, but, you know, consistency is everything. We come back every week. We try to bring y'all a decent show. I mean, if I could find some help here that was actually, you know, decent at this thing,
Madison was up here a couple weeks.
We could probably grow past our two viewers, my mom and your mom, and actually have a show. Anyways, let's talk about somebody with a real
I believe you were supposed to say, I believe we have a clip from the show where we froze, and that's how Ethan was going to.
Okay, there we go. All right, live. Yeah. Can you hear us?
Can you hear us there?
I can, but all I see is you all like.
We're all frozen.
Yeah.
It was great while ago. I should have took a picture. Everybody's face was really intense. So.
At least I wasn't picking my nose, right? So speaking of like it was cold out there, both of us had sleeves on, but like
Yeah.
how
Oh,
funny
yeah,
is
yeah.
that? You know, that, and I think that was one of our first like podcasts.
No,
out
that
the
was
shop.
the
That was
first
number
one out
one,
there.
wasn't it?
Yeah,
That
with
was number
Daryl.
one.
Yep.
And you know, internet was unstable, and we didn't know what the hell we were doing.
Oh,
Right?
we definitely figured it out. As you guys
Yeah.
can tell, we run a professional show now.
We do. Yes, very professional.
Speaking of
Very
professional,
there we go. We knew that we had a guest on here
Yeah.
at some point. Let's bring on somebody that knows what the hell they're doing.
and there's the man, Alex Russell. What's up, sir?
What's
You
up?
guys do no. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm like what you said earlier. I've got a laptop and a microphone, and
Yeah, all right.
play.
Oh, you didn't know that's all you needed.
Yeah.
It's not easy. Everybody should be doing it.
Right, exactly. So I have a question for you before we get deep dive in here. A little birdie told me a secret about you and how fond you are of hats. And I'm a guy that has a hat store. I'm a fond of hats. But Ethan, what you got over there for us? What can you tell us a little bit about what's going on here?
I mean, you're really rocking that
we
flat
need-
brom, sir.
We need
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
help here. What's going
Yeah,
on?
thanks a lot, Jason Bruno. Coming through, buddy. So I decided to go to Lids and have them make the Concaster logo on a hat. I thought it'd be super cool, man. I was excited. I was happy. And I showed a picture of it to some of my supposed good friends.
Now you're questioning that?
And
Yeah.
Rudy, and Rudy Frazier, and they all just like took a big old turd on it. And then they wanted me to put the hat on and take a picture. So like I was already deflated, my feelings hurt, and
Right.
so I put the hat on and took a picture. So yeah, so that's how.
And that's the one that we just showed was the deflated you in the
one.
picture.
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
Glad we could get
you
a
know, when
hold
your
of that.
friends just gut punch you, you think you just like made something that people would absolutely love, and
That is,
so it's a one of one. It'll never be.
okay. So that feeling is every time I if I try to design or explain how I want something, that's the feeling I get. Like, and I present it to our marketing because they're like, yeah, that's a terrible idea. But we get what you're trying to do and we'll handle it from here. You know, the thought works, but what you've done with that doesn't at all. So,
Exactly.
let's try again.
And it's hard. I mean, that logo has so much definition to it.
It
but
does.
it's so hard to put it into a small embroidery to fit on a hat, right? So
Absolutely.
like, I thought they did an excellent job, and like 20 minutes of
Getting ragged.
Yeah.
But dude, listen, by far you have the coolest logo. I mean, like that is the coolest logo I've ever seen. I mean, it is just badass.
They got two logos. How cool!
Yeah.
Well, he's got an official logo, which is the polisher headset microphone, and then and I kind of got a little insight about where the idea of the Concaster came from. That rad painting behind him. That's only for us, though. I don't want to share that with everyone.
So I'm not in. Huh?
No, I'll tell you later.
One day. All right. Speaking of not being in, the guys that aren't familiar with your brand, tell us a little bit about you, Alex. Kind of what where this thing came from, a little background.
Man, so I try to tell people I did what most people did in 2020, right? With COVID, you either started a podcast or you started an OnlyFans, and I'm not pretty enough for an OnlyFans, so we went the podcast route,
Us either.
Yeah, I'm not built for OnlyFans.
It's one of those things where, I had made a few friends through Facebook and online and everything like that in the industry, and there was a lot of people that I looked up to. There's a lot of people that I admired their work. Whether they were like a huge name or just an average person like myself. And so I kind of got this idea, there was already a few podcasts out. Most of them were kind of product based, so even if they had people on, it was still kind of commercially.
Yeah.
And so, I kind of came up with this idea, I'd really like to just reach out to people that I look up to or I admire or I think they do fantastic work and just have a conversation with them, get to know them. So again, I kind of went to my group of friends and kind of pitched them the idea, and they were all very supportive on that idea. Yeah. So it took a little while. I had to research how I was going to do it, which platform to kind of come across.
Yeah.
Didn't really have any money, so I was looking for free platforms, and Anchor
Us as
kind
well.
of seemed, Anchor kind of seemed to be the best one. So we kind of rolled with it, and Jason Bruno, bless his heart, I think him and I did probably about 20 or 30 fake, podcast trials, just to kind of get the hang of it before we actually ever did the first one.
Wow.
And
Are those
honestly,
recorded somewhere? Do it like you?
Yeah. Wish
well,
we could
yeah,
get our
yeah.
hands
Well,
on
no,
those.
not the fake ones. I
Okay.
ended up deleting. They more ended up were just kind of like phone call conversations, just to kind of see how the recording process would go and the audio, and then
Sure.
like,
Gotcha.
after it was done, like how I go into Anchor and everything.
Mhm.
And so like I didn't think anything would come of it really. So I initially had 5 guests that I wanted to talk to, and I figured we'll see.
Do those 5
Maybe
and see where it goes.
maybe I'll go
Yeah.
another 5, and then maybe I'll go another 5, and then it just kind of caught on like gang fire. So the whole way that I really wanted to set it up was I wanted it to be just a casual conversation, kind of get to know. Like if we were just out sitting on the patio, at
Sure.
the restaurant or the bar having a drink, and then everybody just gets to kind of eavesdrop in on the conversation, right? They don't get to be a
Right.
part of it, but they get to be a part of it, kind of deal. And then once it kind of took off and people were having fun with it, and I had people that were like, "Hey, I want to come back on. I want to come back on." And I'm like, "Man, I got a lot more detailers to go through before I start
Right.
recycling." Right?
Recycling, yeah.
Yeah. So that's
How many
where-
times have you had Mike Phillips on?
None.
Oh.
So
Oh,
He's
yeah.
a great get, man. I can hook you.
Yeah.
I can hook you up. I can probably.
Listen,
that'd be
every
awesome.
time,
He politely turned me down.
No, he didn't.
Ryan's got an inside connect. Every time he texts Ryan has to like come run into my office like a little schoolboy. He's like, "Look, Mike's texting me."
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I mean, he politely turned me down because it was right after the Auto Geek deal.
Sure.
And,
gotcha.
and I had messaged him not like knowing about the Auto Geek deal. So apparently he got it right as it was announced. Like my email wasn't, sent to him beforehand, and then it was announced. And so, and
I
then
think he gave us the exclusive on that, didn't he?
good for you guys.
Just kidding.
So we talk about you get this thing going, but there's a lot more to it, right? And so I wonder. I mean, we spend some time prepping and planning and kind of have this process that we go through. What's your process? Do you have a process that you go through? I mean, learning about your guests, or do you really? I mean, do you just wing
It's
it?
all blind. It's
Is
all
it
blind.
really?
It's all blind. I mean, unless I know the person,
Mhm.
but other than that, if I don't know them, it's completely blind. I don't send questions. I come to the table with no questions other than the initial startup one. Hey,
Tell us about yourself.
Give us the where, the when, the why, and the how you got into detailing. And then as they start talking about themselves and their story and everything, then that's where I ask questions. Just like if, again, we were sitting down for the first time, getting to know each other, just hanging out, few detailers, sharing stories or whatever. And that's what I think people really kind of enjoy about the podcast and like it, is because it is genuine.
It's
and
organic.
You're never right. And you're never going to get the same thing and on each episode, on different episodes, because again, I don't have questions. Now, when we first started out, I would stalk people's Facebook page. I would try and come up with like 15 questions, to ask them and things like that. And
reach out to their close personal friends and ask for
yeah,
any
yeah.
dirt,
Right,
like
exactly.
that.
Yeah. Send them pictures of hats that just got made them feel like shit. Yeah.
Okay, good. We have the same plan.
And we never did the whole product thing either. So like we rarely
Yeah.
bring up the fact that
Yeah.
Detail Bookie is a software
Right.
that is built and made for detailers to help run and grow their businesses.
We would never
Yeah. You
commercialize
guys
our
never mentioned
podcast.
that.
Yeah, absolutely. Is it over there? Yeah, so
Have
up
we
there in the
said
top.
that enough here?
Absolutely. No, but that was something that we always have kind of avoided, was talking about the software too much, because the last thing we wanted was to make it seem like this was a ploy to sell software.
Really?
When
Yeah,
really we just wanted to know the industry that that we were in. Dustin been a detailer for over 10 years, and had definitely been involved in the industry, but I don't think until we really started the podcast and started going to these trade shows with
absolutely.
the product that we were able to make all these connections. And
that's absolutely where it happened. And having guys on and being able to conversate and, really dig deep into what makes them allowed us to connect. And then, of course, we always talk about doing these, the events and stuff, and it just brings everybody together. But yeah, I love the organicness of it, with two of us here and Ryan really not having any talent whatsoever.
For sure.
We have to keep him on task. And so we want to make sure that Ryan doesn't get off and then I have to carry the weight of the show as usual.
Yeah. Like I know you're a big movie buff, and I wanted to kind of get into, Half Baked is probably one of my favorite movies. And I was wondering if you could tell me what the plot line of that movie is.
Oh, so it's like these two guys that work at a Good Burger or something like that. And I mean, like they do with clients at a chain restaurant called Good Burger or something like that.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay. Well, so that's one of your favorite movies then.
Yes,
right?
okay.
Yeah.
So ours is live, and so our podcast is live. We chose that way because I like to make shit hard. I think.
Yeah, it's very difficult.
And yours
no. I'll tell you what makes it hard. Start doing it twice a week.
Oh man, dude. It's once a week.
Two. Yeah, start doing two, and then tell me about being hard. Yeah,
and that's what people don't understand. You think, okay, I'll just do a podcast, and that's fun and all great and wonderful until you get about 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 or deep into it, and you're like, shit, I got to do this again.
Good afternoon, Mike Hines.
And it becomes work, right? And now it's like you got to find guests, and then the guest doesn't show, and you got to find a backup, and you're like, it is a lot of work.
It is. I've kind of gotten to the point now where, I'm a very kind of structured person. Like once I'm set in a structure, like it's a rut for me. Like, right. Like
sure.
If I'm out of that rut, like I feel, like out of my element.
Mm-hmm.
So when we decided to, when I thought like, okay, well, people want to come on again, we'll do a second one. We'll call it What's on Your Mind. We'll make it topic based, and we'll bring these people back on for a chance for multiples.
Sure.
And I was like, I'll split the week. I'll do one on Sunday night. I'll do one on Thursday morning. You get 3.5 days roughly in between episodes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're right. It gets a little hard sometimes, finding somebody or coming up with a topic, or somebody doesn't show, or I just get busy and forget to find somebody. And then I'm in our discussion group on Facebook on like Friday morning, like, hey, does anybody want to come on and talk to me tonight?
Who wants to talk for 45 minutes? Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Now, is Jason Bruno, would you consider him the co-host, or is he on pretty much every episode?
So Bruno's co-host with me on What's on Your Mind, because again, when I did that, I wanted it to be more of a round table, and I wanted a co-host. So since he's kind of been my sounding board for this whole thing, and we're really good friends, we talk all the time, every day, kind of deal. I felt like he was that guy that I kind of wanted to have for that. Right. Again, with the Q&As, it's a lot of times I hardly talk because I just say, hey, how'd you get into this? And people talk about themselves for 45 minutes.
Yeah. Right.
It's funny because people are like, I don't know what to talk about. I'm like, trust me, it'll come pouring out, right? Like people love to talk about themselves deep down inside, and that's what makes it great. So Jason's co-host on the What's on Your Minds. I think he sat in on a couple of the Q&As, but usually those we record on Friday night. So it's already enough for me to tell my wife we can't do something on a Friday night because I'm recording a podcast. Right. I don't want him to do that. And then Jason helps me on a lot of the back end stuff. Like he'll help me reach out to people if I'm, trying to find somebody, maybe, he has a better rapport with them than I do, that's easier to reach out to. He's also much better at posting on Instagram and Facebook than I am.
Yeah.
So he's really kind of taken over the Instagram page and the discussion group page, with, making posts and coming up with these cool little, Canva deals. So, it's been great. But
That's awesome.
I think one of the reasons my phone has never rang for that then is because I beat Jason Bruno so bad as Spade.
yeah.
Like,
You
he's,
did.
you know, and I think he's still butthurt about just getting beat down by me. I mean, I'm
Oh
so
yeah, he
good.
talks about it every time I talk to him.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
like,
I bet he
Dustin,
does, and
spades.
so that's probably why he's never called me.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's still butthurt about it.
No, man. And he wanted to make sure that we knew that you're an awesome, husband, dad, and just all around great person. So
Yeah.
just don't think he fed us only, only the dirt.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
No.
you need to talk to some other people in the industry. They'll probably really tell you how I am.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, I will definitely have to add that into our questionnaire for.
He probably kissed up just to keep his job. So
The last question on every podcast: how do you feel about Alex Russell?
Yeah. Now, I'm sure we've had some pretty rough podcasts, right? Is there any one that kind of sticks in your mind as like just a rough one to get through for whatever reason?
Man, I've had a couple of them. I had one guy. I forget who it was now. He kind of gave me the, what do we do? And I said, listen, we're just going to talk about you, right? And he's like, oh, okay. And I said, you just need to talk for like 45 minutes to an hour. He's like, oh, absolutely. And then like I asked him a question and he's like, one word answer.
One word answer.
my
Oh
God.
gosh,
And I'm
that's
like,
great.
and this was back when I did have questions, and
Right.
and I'm like looking at the clock, and I'm like, man, we're only 10 minutes in, and I'm like almost done with questions. Like, how am I? That one was a pretty rough one.
Sound like my online dating experience. Just one word answers. Like, what am I supposed to do with this? Like,
I think you had experience there.
The first time I had Jason Kilmer on, we recorded a whole hour, and I realized afterwards, I realized I forgot to hit the record button.
Oh, dude, I know that. That's happened to us, hasn't it?
Yep.
I'm sure.
Well, we were.
Luckily, Kilmer was nice enough. I called him immediately, and I was like, "Hey, what are you doing tomorrow?" And he's like, "Why? What's up?" And I was like, I forgot to hit the record button. And honestly, though, it ended up being a way better interview than the first one.
You realize what some of the things you wanted to say that you didn't, and that allows you to do it. Thinking of some of our, mishaps. One of them was, who was the guy? We had like a group on, like our detail book MEPs.
Oh
right?
gosh, that was definitely Wyatt.
Okay.
Wyatt Robinson. Yellowstone.
Yeah.
Listen, great dude.
Great.
Yeah, we had him on. He's awesome.
And look, he gets on this rant about the animals. Or it's not a rant, but he's just this he gets on it about the animals that are living in
he was talking about that hunting, and just a real general,
and like there's like 15 people on this podcast, and he's got the mic. It's like it's a Zoom thing, and he's got it, and he's talking about all these birds.
He told us about it,
deer, and like we're all like.
I think I even said when he was coming on your podcast, I wanted somebody to just bring up animals, and you could just sit back. That was one of my favorites, actually. That was so much fun.
Great.
Yeah, we'll have to do another one of those again where we have like a bunch of folks.
It was awesome. That's tough, man. It's tough to moderate.
Yeah.
When you have multiple guests and trying to get everybody their share.
Not only that, but just trying to figure out everybody's schedule. It's like, hey,
absolutely.
so we can do it this day. Well, I can't do it that day, but I can do it this day. And it's like, okay, well, they can do it this day. Can you do it that? No, I can't. It's tough. That's
having
one of the hardest things.
Having a dead set time, like we go live every Friday 11:30. It makes it a little.
It does. It makes it difficult. So I'm curious. We talk about and we're gonna have to exclude ourselves from this next question because I know that it would probably be us, but we're not gonna let you choose us. Who would have been your favorite guest on your podcast besides us?
We haven't been on this podcast.
We're on it now. Oh shit, we're on our own.
We're on our podcast.
Well, excluding this podcast,
he has not
ours.
invited us. You know how Mike Phillips told him no? He hasn't even asked us. So
no, I reached out, and you guys were like, yeah, we'll figure something out, and then
okay,
we're
still figuring.
I don't know, man. That's a tough one because I've had a lot of great guests, whether they're people like Jim White, who are who has a huge YouTube deal, or like when Jen Turcotte came on and like just spilled her guts after the whole IGL thing, or even to people that Derek Copes who came on and talked about his past life being in the drug game and going to jail, and like it's almost stories like that are better than the name, right? Like sure, the name is cool because sometimes it gets us more listens and drives our numbers up, and that makes our advertisers happy and things like that. But it's the stories, it's the people, it's the realness, and that's what I enjoy. There was a lot of times in the beginning that me and Jason would, we do one, or I would do it, and Jason would message me afterwards or call me afterwards and be like, "So what'd you think?" And I'd be like, "Man, I don't know. I thought that was a shitty episode. Like, I just not feeling it."
Yeah.
And then like and I don't listen back to them. I just can't. Like I've already done it.
I don't either.
I've already experienced it. I can't listen back through it. But some of those that I really felt like that were just terrible shows, I would go back and listen to it, and I would listen to it as a listener
to critique yourself,
right? And honestly, like I called Jason back. I'd be like, "Okay, I apologize. You were right. It was a great episode." But I feel like they've gotten a lot better. I feel like we've gotten better, just in the whole process. And I think now that we're not. I mean, I still feel like we're the little podcast that can, but more people kind of know about us now. So when they come on, I feel like they're giving us their best selves.
Absolutely
excited to be there.
Right? Exactly.
A lot of these guys haven't necessarily gotten this spotlight to where they can actually, tell about who they are and how they kind of got to where they are, and have, like I said, some really good stories.
That's been the whole thing all along. Like, it's nice that now, again, that we've got a little popularity, we've got a little bit of a name, that I can go out and get some of, these bigger named detailers to come on, the people that, people want to hear. But we still make sure that we're getting the average guys, the guys like myself, the guys like you that are, still working every day, to do this, because that's where I feel the heart of the industry really is.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's where, the real stories are coming from. And not to say that the people that have names don't have a story and don't have any heart in it, but
we had Randy Dole and he cried. So that was
that's cool. I never got Randy to cry. I'm gonna have to get him. I'm gonna have to
work on it.
Go a little harder on him next time.
No. It was all in the questions.
Yes, the question written down.
Yeah.
We listen, guys can relate. That our audience are predominantly detailers. Yeah. They can relate to guys like them. So talking to that's
why we like to have our customers, because we do have a plethora of potential podcast guests with our software, and we did when we did our spotlight on our software users. That's when we really got to bring on a lot of these guys that we had been talking to for a while but didn't necessarily know a lot about, and those are some of my favorite ones, is when we were just having guys that are
it's organic, man. It's natural.
Tell us about them.
Right. I have a question. You mentioned your wife, about Friday nights and not going to. So our biggest fans are definitely our moms. Yeah. Mine and Ryan's. Like, our moms watch it like religiously. Actually, I have to correct this. My mom was in town over the weekend, and she told me she actually does not watch the podcast anymore. So we're down to one fan. But
I hate to break this to you, but I don't think my mom watches regularly anymore.
I can't take it. No, so I'm curious, is your wife your biggest fan, or do you have like somebody that never misses a show that you know of, or that has told you that? Who would be your biggest fan?
So I would have to give a shout out to Michael Hine on that one.
Mike Hines, he gave us a shout out actually earlier.
And it's funny too, the whole Mike and I's whole friendship came out of him giving me a 1-star.
Oh, look, my mom is watching.
Yeah.
I love you, Mom.
Yeah, I'm just sitting over here.
Yeah. He gave us the 1-star review. And that was a gut punch, I was like, man, like, it was a pretty nasty review. All because, I think it was Bruno dropped a couple of F-bombs. I might have
an
episode. And the story was that he was he had his grandson in the shop as he was playing it,
Oh,
and and
never
his
thought about
grandson's
that.
5 years old, and here we are dropping f-bombs like it's like nothing.
Sure.
And he just thought better of us, and so he kind of said it. So it's funny, like that's one of my favorite episodes to this day. Was it was a 1-star negative review on Apple.
Mhm.
Apple
Like on the
doesn't have
podcast.
any-
Oh wow,
right.
that's
Apple doesn't have any way for you to like try to reach out to the
Wow.
person that left the
Wow.
review. Right, you can't
Mhm.
communicate with them like you can other places. So the very next episode was one of the ones that we had Jen on, and we were just kind of, I think that was a 3-hour episode with Jen.
Wow.
And it was me and Bruno and Jen, and we were kind of talking about, how do you deal with 1-star reviews? Because I
Mhm.
don't
You just
I don't deal good with 1-star reviews.
Oh yeah,
I
right.
was upset. I was like, I want to talk to this guy. Like, I want to
sure
like make it
address
right.
it. Yeah. Yeah.
And all I knew was, Mike. I didn't know anything about, and thankfully, Mike listened to that episode, and he messaged me on Messenger, and I gave him my phone number. I was like, Mike, call me right away. I want to talk to you. And he
Wow.
called me. I remember it was around Christmas time because I was in the mall shopping with my wife.
Sure.
And I said, I have to take this. I said, I'm going to talk to Mike. And Mike and I talked it out, and he explained why, and I totally understood why. And we invited him on the show to talk about it.
Awesome.
That is awesome.
The episode was titled "Turning a Negative into a Positive," and to this day, it's the only episode that has 100% retention all the way start to finish.
Oh wow.
Wow.
All right,
That's
I gotta go. I want to go
Ever
listen to
since
this
then,
now.
Yes.
Ever since then, Mike and I are best buds. And he'll call me and tell me if the show was shit or if the show was great. And he listens. If
Hey,
there's
language.
Yeah.
yeah, oh, sorry.
No,
No,
it's a family show, man.
Yeah.
There he
He
is.
said, "Thanks, brother."
Yeah. But he'll let me know, and he's the kind of guy that absorbs energy or absorbs education. So if we really have a good one on, he listens multiple times because he'll mark down timestamps of when
Wow.
when we said something really good. So when he goes back through and listens to it again, he has those timestamps to know, that's where he needs to pay attention to. So yeah, I mean, Mike is probably one of the ones that I know about. I mean, there's a bunch. I mean, there's a lot of people that have become fans.
Sure.
I'll throw Jim White's name out there again, just because whatever.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Jim White listens a lot, and he'll message me, and the Dean Varandantos up in Canada, he listens to a lot of them. So yeah, I mean, it's
How
luckily
wild was it when you realized people were listening to you? That's been something that's just been hard for us to get used to when people come up
When
to us
they
like,
refer to the show, like something you said, and you're like, wow, okay, these guys are really listening to this thing.
Oh, it's listen, man, when people send me messages and say, hey, I just found your podcast, or I've been listening to your podcast, I love it, I love what you're doing, the educate, like it's really helped me, whatever. Like,
This is
I
incredible.
wonder what that's like, getting those messages.
I mean, it's a heartstring puller, man. Like,
Yeah,
it is.
here I am, just, I've always said, I'm, I don't ever, everybody says it, so everybody's probably call me out on it and call me a bad word or whatever. But I've never did this to be popular.
Sure.
Right.
All I wanted to do was to give back to the industry that gave to me.
Yep.
So, if it's, just giving my opinion on it or giving my interpretation on a topic or a subject or whatever, that's all I'm trying to do. And the fact that it reaches people and people agree with it and love it and give us that feedback. It's crazy, man. I mean, like from the first time to just like the other day, I had somebody message me, and it's still the same feeling. Like I'm kind of like, man, like I can't believe people are listening,
It is. It's strange to hear it because we're here in a room, but it's just us and Nathan and just like you and so you talk and that people are listening, but they're numbers, right? They're just numbers on a thing, on a report. And then when it becomes real when they call you and said, yeah, no, I you talked about this thing, I did it in my business, it's worked great, thank you, and you're like, whoa,
Yeah.
you know, people are really
I
listening.
started telling the story about the 4 baby blue sea hunts that we had stacked up on our lot, and literally the couple that we were talking to it, I think it was either SDC or MTE. They were like, "Oh no, we've heard it. We've heard it like a couple
Heard that
times."
story like 6 times. Do you mind
And
not
that
telling us
blew
that?
my mind that like, oh crap, I have told that a couple times on the podcast or
Yeah.
whatever. And so
Yeah.
I was crazy thinking about that. Now,
Yeah,
you
I mean,
actually
even
got
even
ahead.
MTE earlier this year, you know, people coming up to me and like just
Right.
congratulating me and telling me, you know, how good it was and things like that. It was just like, holy crap, you know, like it's nuts. It's nuts.
And you got a stamp of kind of the official, like you've made it in the podcasting world when you get yourself a sponsor. You want to tell us about your sponsor?
Yeah, we got to hear about this.
Which one? I have like 4 of them.
The
now,
big
so.
Manscaped. Well, we
Do
think
you
this
really?
is a
Hold on,
big-
hold on.
It's-
Who are these
You don't
other
want to hear.
ones?
You don't want to hear about any of the detailing ones. You want to
Okay,
hear
No,
they are
no,
detailing ones,
Those
right?
guys are old news.
Yeah.
Those guys are old news.
Well, you know, in case any of my sponsors are listening, I appreciate all of them just the same.
Equally, yeah.
Yeah. Manscaped was a joke that turned into a reality. You know, we I was cleaning out a client's car one time and they had some Manscaped ball wipes. And I just, you know, like I just thought it was hilarious that it said ball wipes on it, right? And so like I had made these jokes or whatever, and then we were on the podcast one time, and I just made a joke about like, hey, we're gonna get a sponsorship with Manscaped, and I'm gonna show up to SEMA and MTE with like a duffel bag full of ball wipes, and just like Oprah Winfrey, ball wipes for you, ball wipes
You
for
get a ball
you,
wipe.
you know, like and so it was a joke. It was a running joke for a little bit. And then actually I was talking with Mike, and because Mike's like, hey, you know, I use their products, they're really good, and he's like, you know, it would probably benefit the detailing industry. You know, we all get hot and sweaty,
Absolutely.
and you know, and
Yeah, sure.
you know, need
Swap
attention.
ass, as I like to call it.
Yeah, exactly. You know, we need attention to those areas. So I said, you know what? I said, well, let me just, you know, shits and giggles, right? So I go on the Manscaped page. They have an influencer thing. You send them your information, and so I just kind of, you know, titled it with, you know, like, hey, cars have stick shifts. You know, guys want to keep their stick shifts clean, you know, whatever. And I was like, hey, I think it'd be a great marriage of you know, companies, and so they got back to us, and they said, hey, we think that's pretty cool. Send us all your numbers. And at the time we were still very small. We were 150 average listeners an episode. And so they said, hey, we appreciate it, but 500's our number, minimum 500.
Wow. Okay.
So okay, we had a carrot to dangle in front of us, you know, and we just, you know, every now and then Jason and I would bring it up in an episode, or a guest would come on and, you know, kind of like make a joke about it or whatever.
Yeah.
And it just, you know, the episode started growing, the listenership started growing, we started getting there, and then we had Jen come on, and of course hers like blew up. So it really made our average numbers go huge.
Sure.
And so we were a little over 400 average listens at the time, and so I was like, you know what, let me just try. I'll try it, you know, whatever. They just say no, 500, you know, quit messaging us. And the guy said, we'll give you a 30-day trial. We'll send you and your co-host a full kit. So me and Jason got like the Mac Daddy Manscaped package with the trimmers and the ear and nose hair trimmers, the lotions and the sprays and the everything, man. It was awesome. And they said you got to get 10 clicks.
Okay.
In a month. So we hit it hard. You know, we promoted them just like we promote all our other brands. And we lucked out. Either we got 10 or 11 or I don't know, but they said, okay, we'll give you a 3-month sponsorship, but it's going to be month to month, just because, you know, I guess we weren't like
numbers
huge.
were super close.
Still weren't huge numbers.
Sure.
And I said, okay, that's fine. We'll go month to month, whatever.
Right.
So we did July and rocked out July, and then they ghosted us in August, and in like middle of August, they messaged me back, and they're like, "Hey, we're still good. We'll go for September then." And I was like, "All right." So yeah, so Jason and I have some fun.
That's awesome.
Recording the ads, and one of the ones, we had Alan Medcraft and Jason Rose on one time, and and we were talking about, that was before we had the sponsorship, but we had talked about it. And so Alan just loved it. Alan thought it was hilarious. So when we got it, Alan's like, "I want to record a commercial for you guys or whatever." So I told him, I said, "Well, hey, let's do one where, like I was promoting the ball wipe or whatever, or not the ball wipe, the lotion, because summertime, swamp ass, And I said, "I want you to play the part of my balls." I'll say, if you don't believe me, just
ask my balls.
Ask my balls. And then Alan gets on with his, thick Scottish accent, and he's like, maybe, and I'm like, "I don't," and so then I'm like, "I don't know why my balls are Scottish." There you go. Yeah. So we just try to have fun with it. I mean, they have some great ads. I mean, the last one, fall ball, what was it, fresh ball fall, is the one we're running right now. And Jason and I couldn't make it through. We were just laughing too much.
That really kind of reminds me of Noble Gold. When I talk about our investments, 401k, and your IRAs, you can roll those over into gold. And so, catch us, Noble Gold sponsorships coming up soon. I can feel it. Noble Gold, man. You turn your IRA into gold.
Yeah.
There is a big podcast.
So would you think, I mean, when did you know like your podcast had taken, to the next level? Is that like, was that it?
I'll let you know when it happens.
Okay.
I still feel like we're struggling. I mean, like Jason said, I'm a numbers guy. Like, I'm constantly looking. I mean, I'll check numbers like 5, 6, 7 times a day. Like, I just want to know, how much of a jump we're getting, what kind of averages we're having, and things like that. It's I'll tell you, the big jump kind of came middle of last year. Was when I noticed that the episodes started getting more average listens. We went from like 150 to 200 kind of quickly. Beginning of this year was kind of crazy too, because we finished off last year, from the start of the podcast. We started the podcast in July, I think, of 2020. So till the end of 21, we had 20,000 listens.
Nice.
Wow. That's great.
And I thought that was great. And then this year we did 20,000 listens from January 1 to like the end of March. So 3 months we had done.
No kidding. What you'd done in a year.
Wow.
Yeah, last year.
Right. A year and a half. Exactly.
Wow.
So that was kind of the really big jump for us. Summertime kind of hit and it plateaued. Numbers kind of actually went backwards, it seemed like, and I was kind of like really stressing out. I'm like, why are we losing, average listens? But now it's kind of turned around and they're coming back up. And I think I looked at it the other day. We're over 56,000 total listens, and we're over 300 average listens per episode. But the one thing that does it in for me, and I've said it before, that it's the second episode that I feel killed. Because as soon as our momentum gets running on one episode, we drop another one, and then that just kills our average. Right.
Sure.
As soon as we build our average up, we're dropping another one. It drops down, and we build it back up, and we drop it. So sometimes, Jason's always telling me, like, dude, it's good to take a week off, and just miss an episode. And so every now and then, if I don't get somebody, or if I can't come up with an idea or something, I try not to stress it as much, because I know that it's just going to help our numbers get a little bit more.
It does.
Before we drop them again.
Right. That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, it is, man. And listen, we really appreciate you taking the time to come on ours and talk about podcasts. I think it's interesting for our listeners to know just what goes on. They see us come in here every week, and you guys, and it's nice to kind of get an inside scoop. Just curious, we'll be out at SEMA. We're going to be able to hang out with you out there. You going to make it?
Not unless a miracle happens this year, unfortunately. I was all set to go, and then Chris DiGiovanni, who's one of our sponsors with the Detailers Roadmap, shot me a message, and he said,
So
"Hey,
hold on. Let's just
Okay.
say this again. So Chris DiGiovanni is one of your sponsors.
Yeah.
Do you reach out to him though, right?
No,
Or he
he
reached out to you.
he reached out to me. I've been very fortunate. I've been very fortunate that I've not had to reach out to any sponsors other than Manscaped. All my sponsors have reached out to me. We've been very fortunate. But no, Chris offered me booth space at MTE next year, January.
Sure.
For Jason and I to record podcasts. So that being said, again, like I said earlier, you talked about just a microphone and a table and a computer because that's how I did it.
Yeah.
Sure.
So now we had to go out and buy fancy microphone and fancy mixing board and things like that
Yeah.
to be able
Look
to
the
do it
part.
live.
Right.
So my SEMA money got spent on the things that I need to buy for MTE. So unless a miracle happens, if somebody wants to fly me out there and put me
I was
up
actually
in a
saying,
hotel or
Chris
something.
just messaged me and he said he was down to pay for the plane ticket.
Yeah, he
so
said
you should cash in on his offer.
He would
Yeah.
hate for you to
Yeah.
miss SEMA
I
just
get-
because his thing
Chris,
there. And
that's
so-
very nice of you to make that
DiGiovanni,
offer.
That's what
Yeah.
happens
Yeah.
when you're killing it.
Yeah,
Yes,
our plan next year is to get me and Jason out to SDC and SEMA.
Yeah.
We're gonna try to work our budget this year and hit our sponsors' pockets pretty good.
You should.
Yeah.
So that
Chris,
we can
step up.
represent
really
the
should.
brand and themselves. So yeah, I mean, we'll definitely be at MTE. We'll have our little setup. And like I said, we're gonna try to get out to SDC, whether we either do our own booth or we plop into one of the booths of our sponsors.
Okay.
And then SEMA, we're gonna definitely try and get out there. And then the plan there is to spend a day at each of our sponsors' booths.
That's
and
cool.
give them a whole day of us hanging out in their booth for them taking care of us.
Love it, man. Well, look, dude, as always, good talking to you. We
Yeah, man, I
appreciate your
appreciate it.
time and information. I know everybody's probably getting a ton of, they get the inside look. So it's really cool talking to you. And you shoot us an invite. We'd love to jump on your show,
Absolutely.
seriously.
Yeah,
on your
definitely.
podcast and talk with you.
Yeah, definitely. We'll I'll figure something out where we can get you guys on, and Jason will do a topic episode or something like that, and
Nice.
and just have a good old fun time. So yeah,
Sounds
good.
great, man. Thank
Sounds
you so
good,
much,
guys.
Alex.
yeah. Thank you.
Take it easy, brother.
Thank
All
you,
right.
man. See ya. All right. So I was the third coolest guy in the room.
Man, that dude is rad. And
No, he's cool, man. He's laid back. He just has he has the voice that we don't have.
right. Yeah,
You know?
100%. I agree.
But he's got a great show, and
But you know what they don't have, Dustin?
what do they not have?
They don't have a hacker hack.
Oh yeah. So
What do you know about hacker hack, Ethan?
all right.
Or heck.
Ethan just saved his job.
Yeah, he did. So, guys, earlier in the show, we talked about all of the changes that the show's gone through over the last couple of years. And one of the main issues was recording in the middle of your shop, Dustin.
Yeah, that was a pain in the
That
ass.
was a pain. So I wonder whose grand idea that was. Do you remember?
It sounds like a Dustin
It
Jackson move.
definitely
Like
does
if I can make it hard, I try to make it hard. Like
Because
I
there's
want
only
it
like 12
as
detailers
difficult.
out there that were kind of waiting, for us to finish up and finish our sushi
Yeah,
back in the days.
my daughter is now infatuated with sushi.
Sushi? She likes sushi? Oh, that's great,
And
dude.
it's hilarious. It's the funniest thing. Daddy, you eat sushi?
Sushi.
I'm like, no, baby,
No.
and neither do you.
Well, good. Nah, well, guys, ever since we moved upstairs, we created a hack to look like we were still in the shop. So
Yeah,
many of y'all might not have
you have
noticed.
been fooled,
Y'all,
friends.
some
We are no longer in
tomfoolery.
our shop. There's the picture
That's
of
the
us.
actual car.
Yeah.
And then we took a little shot of that. Notice there's one thing in this picture that is not, or that's not on that picture that's here.
It's there. There it is. So if you notice, there's some cords that look really bad in the top left or in the mid left corner. Yeah, those things did not get straightened out. We didn't realize how important that picture was going to be.
Right.
And so yeah, it's now we have these ugly cords rolled up in the corner of our banner, and it's a banner behind us. This is not, believe it or not,
Yeah.
this is not a real car. And but those are really tangled cords right there. So, but look, man, it's
That's
worked out. It got us up here in a little bit of the AC, and the sound's better. I mean, unfortunately, it didn't fix us, but it did fix the sound,
Right.
and so it's you get a little bit better quality. And of course, we've evolved. Jessica, Chris, and Ethan have all done an amazing job setting up this thing week after week. There's a lot of prep work that goes into it. In our show, they do. We just kind of sit down and make it sound good. But these guys really put in a lot of work on the back end. I want to shout out to our team, and then obviously Brooke, Madison, and Abby, marketing it. The team really comes together to do a great show, and I couldn't be more proud. We came so far, and we got so much further to go. We got to get our numbers up.
We're gonna have to get a hold of some sponsors. I think we need to. Papa Joel, what's up, buddy?
Yeah. So listen, that's gonna wrap up this show. It's been an awesome one. Awesome talking to Alex. We got a huge, epic Billy Bogus coming on next week, and we're gonna
Detailer Garage, guys.
I wanna talk to him. We're gonna get the raw, unedited heads up, everyone.
Mike, Mr. Hines. Next week might not be a good one.
Hey, this is not edited, and this is live, so be careful, guys. If we have young listeners, make sure you earmuffs. Because it's going to be a great show. Looking forward to it. And today's going to wrap it up. We'll see you next week. Peace.